Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is your friend Dharam Singh, and today I have very beautiful, very smart lady from Nigeria, Jumoke. I thought I will pronounce her full name, Olajumoke Akinwunmi. I thought this is okay, and
Hmm.
we call her Jumoke. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
So
Absolutely.
exactly. So I'm very privileged to have her here, especially after seeing her credentials and the work she has been doing. And I'm privileged that she was my student as well, which is very
Mhm.
rare to have people like Tumuki as my student. And she is coming from Nigeria. Nigeria is the fastest growing economy in South in African countries, and
Mhm.
I think maybe not only Africa but globally is doing really well, which is great.
Yeah.
And people like Jumoki is contributing a lot. She is a co-founder, managing director of Alitheia Capital. So she has
Mhm.
been into real estate and innovation, green, sustainability, many things. And what else? She's a ad certificate certified. She's a PMP. She got PMP 2022. And normally I have students who do the PgMP PfMP, very like do the program almost close to the certificate. But somehow we missed calling Jumoki earlier. But now she's here. Welcome, Jumoki.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Durham. It's such a pleasure to be here. And as he said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria, hot, humid, and it's about 5 p.m.
Huh?
So thank you so much for spending the next hour or so as Durham and I have a conversation about me, hopefully, and about PMP and everything that's happening in our industry. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And Jumoki did mention she's coming from Lego World
Mm.
in Nigeria, not Lego World, Lego, like where she have a building blocks
Lagos.
and you put buildings
Hmm.
together.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm connecting the Legos with the Lego World, where
Ah.
for the kids were pulling. But you are doing the same thing. You're putting buildings and in the construction building,
Mhm.
constructing theater or supermarket and many other things you're doing, which is
Correct.
you know being I don't know is stereotyping or not, but generally it's a men's area where men doing entering into that area is not easy, and you're doing
Yeah.
really good
Thank
and
you. I
welcome.
mean, you're absolutely right. I hear this all the time. It's a male-dominated sector, right?
Yeah.
But fortunately, I'm not the only one who's doing great. Of the other gender.
Hmm.
And so, every opportunity that I have to share my story and to share the work that's being done, I
Yeah.
take advantage of it. And this is an excellent platform to do that.
Perfect, perfect. Jumuki, welcome back, welcome again, and
Thank you.
I'm already excited, and we're going to have a great session. So I'm very privileged to say that as of now, 533 PGMPs, which out of
Oh.
7,200 global numbers. I'm very
Hmm.
privileged to have so many people trusted me in this journey, and PGMP is one of the toughest certificates to have. And having 533 people gone through this journey and passing the exam with excellent result, and
Hmm.
then 160 PfMPs, another high-profile certificate. We have globally around 2,200 PfMP. So
Wow.
out of 2,200, 160 have taken me as a mentor. I'm very privileged to have that. And a number of people have gone through my PMP programs and RMP and other certification. And Jumuki came to me, I think, early in 2022 when
22.
COVID
Yes.
was going on. And
Yes.
she utilized the time effectively, efficiently, and she completed her certificate. And PMP was challenge for her. I mean, I tell you why, because she's coming from construction mindset, and all those predictive way of doing projects. And
Hmm.
PMP also talks about agile, and is a 45%, 48% of the agile concepts. So you need to learn as a PMP aspirant the agile concepts as well.
Yeah.
Um, some of the concept you can apply in your day-to-day construction as well, but not
Hmm.
entirely. But yes, still learning while doing the construction projects as agile, becoming agile expert is also is a great thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let me start my first question, Jomoki, and let's get started. Okay, what motivated you to pursue your PMP certification after nearly 3 decades of practicing project management?
So first of all, I earned a degree in project management, you're right, about 30 years ago, and project management specifically for the construction industry. And at that time, so the construction industry and even project management in it was really entirely male dominated. I mean, we just had a conversation about that.
Yeah.
And, 2.5 decades later, almost knocking on three, I found myself, and this happened because of an incident that I encountered. I found myself reflecting on how very little had changed in nearly 30 years, especially, particularly for women who were entering the field. And that's when I started to think about PMP. Of course, I knew about it and I'd been a member of the Project Management Institute anyway. But before then, I thought to myself, I really don't need this certification. I mean, I'm doing this work and I'm doing an excellent thing at it. Otherwise, I wouldn't still be in business. But I started to look at PMP really as more than just a certificate, right? So instead, I looked at it as a platform. Yeah, you kind of think about it as I thought it provided me with the opportunity actually to raise my voice. So a platform that is coming from a globally recognized certification. So, being PMP actually means something globally. Um, and so I felt, and if you remember very well, the conversations that we had at the beginning, I told you that I knew that it was about time that I started to mentor at a more global scale. So I've always mentored young women, particularly because of the experiences that I had had. So, but I wanted to do this at a global scale. And you might think this is a little, selfish of me, but I thought that the platform provided me just that opportunity. And that's why I ended up really going after and pursuing the PMP. So in a nutshell, the PMP is part of a bigger mission from my perspective. You asked the question how this has impacted my career, did you? And my response to that would be that uh, it hasn't entirely. So fundamentally, things are still the same, as far as managing projects is concerned. But one of the things that I think that it has done for me is that it's given me, should I say, a newer set of lenses through which I view the work that I do. And the newness is found in the structured approach that you find with PMP, right? So the things that I did, because almost intuitively and from experience, I'm now able to see them in a slightly different light, in a more structured light. Okay, so and my typical example would be stakeholder management, which was perhaps one of the best modules that I thoroughly enjoyed that because I fully understand what it means to ensure that that relationship is established and strengthened in the life of a project. So that PMP framework actually just validated something that I already knew and believed in. And I've always believed that truly projects will fail or succeed on the strength of the relationships that we make. And one of the things that I do actually with every project is, yes, I need to have a successful project, but I also need to form successful partnerships. So those two for me kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You mentioned the issue about quick one about gender and this male dominated environment. So on the softer side, I thought to myself that having this certification, while it will definitely not eliminate any biases, I know the biases still exist, but I felt that at least it gave me that a credential that is universally recognized, and that before someone starts to think about the reason why I'm not qualified, at least they see the PMP, the PMP against my name, and that should, put them in a different frame of mind. I remember telling one of my mentees, saying to her, "Oh, I don't have time, for the next 2 months because I need to prepare for my exams." And in shock, she was like, "What exams?" And I said, "I'm doing my PMP exams." And she said, "My goodness, I mean, you've been practicing project management longer than I have been alive. So how and why are you doing these exams?" And explaining to her that the same thing that I said, which was like, this is an excellent platform to amplify my voice, was what made her think, okay, you're doing the right thing. That's all right.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
So look, this certificate, actually this certificate is for the professional already in the profession. So there
Yeah.
are other certificate which are which gives you starting, but this is for people already have a project manager who has been project managing for at least for 3 years.
Absolutely. Yes.
So the expectation is you have done some projects management, you have
Hmm.
understanding. Now by
Hmm.
doing following the standard of like PMBOK 7th edition or whatever edition we are using, is
Hmm.
give you and like you can compare. If you don't have previous experience, you will not able to compare,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
cannot see what I'm doing right or not doing correct.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this where I believe this PMI certificates, not only PMP, other certificates as well, gives
Hmm.
you a, help you to see different perspective.
Yeah.
And
I completely agree with that. But I also think that one shouldn't really wait that long, because it takes a whole lot more mental strength and whatever else to shift if
yeah,
you've been in practice for a very long time. Yeah.
exactly. And of course, this add more confidence, and people see
Yes.
you expert in this area. All this come with that, and your recognition. All
Hmm.
this part and parcel of these certificates. And yeah, look, I was happy that my student has successfully passed the exam. What else as a teacher would want?
Thank you for being a great teacher.
Yeah, thank you. And for people, I have shared couple of few information on the chat. Feel
Mhm.
make it, maybe take a print screenshot of that, or maybe copy and paste. I put a coupon code as well, just in case you're interested in my programs. I think this will save you some 10% or $100, some hundred, I think $100 saving on most of the program. And I don't know, Jumoke told you, but I have released one app called vCare PM Exam Mentor. And at the moment, I have PMP, PgMP, PfMP in the full package with lots of questions and terminology, glossary, practice question, all of these. So Android version is already available to be downloaded, and iOS version is coming, which is maybe another 15 to 20 days. But
Mm.
the 11th set of mock exam and five or six practice tests and all lot of information there. So anybody practicing, I don't think you can miss that. And there are other information there which you can use it, especially for PgMP, PMP, PfMP. I have a couple of links which people can use it for learning about basic information about the PgMP and how to get there. All those. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Let me ask you the next question. Can you
Yeah.
share insights into transformative practices or methodologies you have adopted that have a significant impact on the delivery and performance of your projects?
When I think about that, I think to myself that I don't have any mind-blowing insights on strategies. But what I have is, I mean, I'm aware that in my case at least, that transformative practices are not usually some exciting innovation. They're just the things that we do consistently well, actually, that we do excellently well. And
Yeah,
that is this is what I teach my team, because many times I find, especially the younger people in my team, we kind of want to run after every new thing in project management, and that supports the work that we do. Um, so there are few must do's with every team that I have managed. And
mhm,
the first one is the power of early engagement. So the first one is not
great.
technology. it's really about clarity. What is the purpose? And this clarity has to be across board. Everybody must think what it is that we're doing is exactly this, and nobody has a difference in opinion, not even a slight variation. Because I've been involved in projects where a small difference became such a big issue. So that the power of early engagement is a very important thing for me. And for me, that means really identifying very carefully who it is that I should be talking to. And I go over and beyond when it comes to things like stakeholder mapping. I'm almost obsessed with that. Um, I also find that because of the types of projects that we do, many times the end user is several steps removed from from the project, right? So one of the things that I have learned to do, and this again came from a project that had happened that didn't end the way that we had hoped, is to pull in the end users. So that engagement is really important to me, and I make sure that the team themselves have interactions with the stakeholders, especially an end user. In the space of affordable housing, this is more than a building for many people. It's more than, walls and a roof. So when I find that we are engaged actively with the end user, I find a team that is more challenged and more willing and able to go over and beyond to make sure that the project is successful. So that's my rule number one. The second thing I think is actually connected is the rule of no surprise. I mean, I say to my team, we should not ever be in a situation where either one of us or one of the other parties is surprised by something. So we need to deal with any issues that we have very quickly. And the antidote to the no surprise is the quality of communication. How do we communicate? What do we communicate? And funny enough, here is where agile comes in for me, right? So Durham and I have an interesting thing about agile because I was so resistant at the beginning. I mean, here, 30 years of project management, I was steeped in the waterfall methodology. I didn't want to hear anything. But interesting enough, so I borrow a lot from the agile principles here. I kind of think of agile as groups of people who are sitting when it comes to communication, sitting around or standing around. Actually, I like the standing around and a little board and writing just the important things, right? But this regular process of, shall I say, reporting on projects is something that I have imbibed. And it's not only within the team, but also with the way that we communicate with the other stakeholders, with our clients and other parties. So that, reporting is not a once a month reporting as was typical in the case of, some other methodology, but we literally report every week, and the reporting is a single page. We've made sure, right? And so what I found, the outcome of that is that there's such a new level of trust that is built, right? And so even when we do have a problem as they occur, we've built such a sufficient trust quotient that in many ways we're able to overcome the challenge without losing face or losing trust with the stakeholders involved. So that for me is really important. Then another thing I think, I mean, I can't discount the role of technology, right? So technology does have a role to play. Tech is an ally, I agree. But, I tell my team as well, who are really eager to deploy all kinds of technology, that if we don't have a good process, then that process, we automate it, we just end up getting poor results, faster. That's all that means. So I'm very keen to deploy technology in a sensible way. And that's not to say, yeah, but it's important to me. I don't know if it's an age thing, um, but there are things that we enjoy doing and work very well for us. So using drones will be an example for me. I am completely intrigued by what I'm able to see just because I have put a drone up in the sky. I mean, things that would never have been possible. And what's even more interesting is that we now do meetings with the drone and we're looking at the images and discussing what we're going to do next
Ah,
while the drone is taking the shots and showing us what's going on. So, even making decisions has become that little bit easier. So altogether, embrace tech, but I'm a firm believer in staying grounded as well. I'd like to talk a little bit more about negotiating because this is one of the lessons that I learned as a young project manager. I thought actually that negotiating meant that I got off the table with a basket full of goodies and I didn't care what was happening on the other side. But
mm,
I think that that impacts a project and it can impact a project significantly, right? So what I have learned as I go to a negotiating table today is to see how we both can get away feeling like, yes, we left something on the table, but also that we got away with something. And really, that's really important to me because that way, you kind of view that people are not tools, right? People are human. And I've made it a point of duty that I acknowledge that and acknowledge the nuances that come with, working with people.
right.
The final thing, sorry, one more thing. Final thing that I'd like to talk about, again, this is from experience, is the issue of morale. I think that that's such an important thing. As project managers, we can be very, very focused on achieving what needs to be achieved without really paying enough attention. We might think that we're ticking the boxes with dealing with our team, but we're not paying sufficient, attention to them. So we've done all kinds of things. I remember on a project, I might have shared this with you, where we had many mom and pop contractors, and we had this basket of gifts. And if anyone had performed credibly well, they got a gift. And shockingly, over Christmas, one of the contractors sent me a message to say Merry Christmas, and then sent me a picture of him. He was using his tile cutter on a project site, and and this was a cutter he received as a gift, 6, 7 years ago. And so those kinds of things really help to promote and have really great impact on how our projects come out at the end of the day. So projects is about people, it's truly about people, and it's about purpose as well. And those three things together are extremely important to me.
Great, great. I'm very, very excited, excited to have the amount of energy you have, a passion you have on the way you're expressing or explaining things with
Mhm.
this, simple thing you're saying in such a way. I'm sure everybody is getting goosebumps and they're feeling excited this session. And you talked many things here.
Yeah.
It's not you talking to me. Still grounded while technology is there. Drone is one of the best innovations for you in your industry because how things look from top.
Yeah.
Yes, we can see from side, we can see from other side, but now having drone technology, and you are using that live pictures and you're explaining or discussing with the
Hmm.
team, which is amazing. Simple things can be huge things.
Yes.
In the world
Yes.
of artificial intelligence and drone and you know the sky's the limit now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm. Good. And negotiation is not about only you winning. It's only
Yes.
it has to be win-win. It's not like you feel like
Yeah.
okay, I saved by negotiating, I saved $100 from this person, but actually the person has taken the hit on the
Yes.
pocket without, and they will work for you because they were looking for
Hmm.
foot in the door, but they're not very happy.
Hmm.
And you like to have a
Yeah.
happy relationship where they are
Yes.
really, really motivated to help you.
Yeah. Yes. I,
Yeah.
I think I think as a project manager, if we recognize that, yeah, I mean, while we have a role to coordinate and manage, um, the support that we get from people is you've used the right word. They're helping. They're helping because
Yeah.
what you find with a happy team is that they actually do go above and beyond, and that's
Exactly.
important.
Exactly. And yeah, you're right. When people are happy, they're excited, they're motivated, they go above and beyond, and
Yeah.
that's where the success of many projects lies. At the end of the day, it's not just what you're doing, but how are you getting there with the help of your
Yes.
people, your stakeholders, everybody there. And when look back, this is where we started. This is what we have done.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you.
All right, I'm already excited. So let me ask you another question. How has rapid evolution of technology, we talked about a little bit, that
Mhm,
technology transformed project management in your field, and
mhm.
what emerging trends are most exciting or impactful for managing complexity and driving efficiency?
Mm, mhm. So when we talk about technology and construction, you know what they say about the construction industry? They say
Hmm.
it's a dinosaur.
Very
So it sounds like an unlikely romance, but the truth is that technology is impacting in a really positive way the industry. And I think that there is a concerted shift in an industry that doesn't particularly like change,
yeah,
um, alongside other issues that are happening that's forcing us to rethink how we build and what we build. Um, but Darren, coming from a generation where high tech was a fax machine
yeah,
and having a Walkman was hip. You imagine that I've seen this evolution firsthand to start with. I am a prop tech and contech fan. I'm a firm believer in that. In those, I've invested in a couple of startups in that space. So I really do embrace technology, but I embrace it with a little bit of caution. When it works, it's fantastic. But we also don't then rush into every piece of technology and try to adopt those. If I think about it, when we started doing project plans, my first project plan was, a print,
yeah,
large print, right?
yeah,
And the print was dog-eared, and we had to annotate on it, because you would use it to the max before you go and make a fresh print, right? But today we have tools like building information modeling, right? So our plans are not just drawings anymore; they are now almost alive. This is the way that I say it. They're breathing documents, if you like, e-documents. And what would have taken ages to resolve on a site. I mean, as a project manager, one of the most dreadful meetings that I had as a young project manager was the coordination meetings with the consultants. I mean, it was so much head butting and so much. Nobody wanted to give up on anything. And now what I find with BIM is that all these things are resolved at such an early stage, and then we avoid all the fights either in our meeting rooms or on site, where we have to then spend so much money to correct errors that have been made that were not picked up because the coordination physically, I mean, was not 100%. So I in that regard, I like it. And again, I will speak about drones. I mean, we call them the flying inspectors because they're probably better at inspecting than we are, from the perspective that they have no biases to start with. So I mean, they're just giving you exactly what it is that is there. Their impression is not colored by anything. So I like what we're able to do with drones, and the images that we're able to generate and the assessments that we're able to do. And in fact, what is even more interesting is keeping track. I mean, you can position a drone in the exact same location every week for 4 years on a project, and then you have these images of how this project has
you
progressed
are,
over that time. Just those things are really really exciting for me. I'm a data person, so I am enamored by what big data can do as to how we manage our projects. What I've seen, and we haven't deployed that yet, but the platforms that are tracking resource utilization, they're already tracking environmental impacts of the projects that we're working on. The basic things like supporting parking management. I mean, we know those, right? But how about when it comes to technology that will let you know when, for example, as a facilities manager, that your light bulb has 2 days of life left left in it, as an example. you know so those are things that I think are exciting for the future. But again, I remember that technology is a tool and not a brain, so we really
Yeah.
have to be mindful of that, and put it into place. You mentioned the Internet of Things.
Mm.
The rate at which buildings are collecting and utilizing data is incredible. I mean, we
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
And so it's almost scary, actually, because what was basic before. I mean, just the idea that a building i- can speak and can support you to make decisions is also is an incredible thing. I think what technology has taught me overall is that with tech, we can do things maybe faster, maybe safer, maybe more efficiently. But I don't know that it can ever replace the human element. There's something about, as an experienced project manager, the gut feeling that you can have sometimes over certain issues, that cannot be replicated
Yeah.
by some AI tool. So my advice always is very simple. With my team, who is really aggressive about tech, I've said, well, we'll embrace the technology, but let's not forget that we cannot replace it with the wisdom that we have from experience and from learning. Yeah.
Mm.
The final comment on what's emerging. I think for a project manager, decision making is such a critical thing. Yeah. At the end of the day, you've got your team and all that, but a lot of times you find that the buck stops on your table. And so I'm intrigued by what AI can do in that space. I was reading some time ago that AI is being deployed in the process of selecting contractors.
Ah.
And that's, oh yeah, and that's interesting because they're now able to use big data to make some kind of predictive analysis as to how a contractor is likely to perform. That's absolutely exciting. Oh yeah,
Ah.
yeah.
Mm,
So things like that support and make the work of the project manager that little bit easier. I'm all for it.
yeah. My advice not just rely on the what AI is saying. It's that
Yes.
it give you indication that
Yeah.
this contractor going to be good or not going to be
Yeah.
good,
Yes.
but don't just rely on the past. The past is definitely indication of future, but that's not always
Hmm.
always true, because
Hmm.
sometimes you start and you don't do good, and sometimes you do you can improve from there. So yeah,
Yeah.
human element is
Yes.
also.
You cannot discount the human element, no matter how much tech you apply.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm excited with my next question, equally excited.
Yeah.
As an edge expert, how do sustainability and innovative practice interest in the project management,
Uh,
especially regarding large scale housing projects?
But that's an interesting one for people who may not know. EDGE is a green certification, and the full name of it, so that's the acronym, is Excellence in Design for Greater Efficiencies. This is a tool that's been promoted by the IFC, and is generally used in the environment that I operate in. And so, just like being certified as a project manager, you can go through a process and be certified as a green expert. So I went through that process as well. Very important for me for many reasons. I believe that as team lead in the industry that I work in, sustainability and innovation, they're complementary roles, and really they're absolutely inseparable as far as addressing the big challenges of the built environment, uh, and really especially in the context of delivering housing affordably. So if you think about it from the housing space, there's a global crisis already. It's more felt, of course, in emerging markets like mine, where the housing deficit is honestly beyond belief. The World Bank reports that in Nigeria, for example, 70% of people live in substandard or slum housing, right? So that is a big thing. And so we're not talking now just about numbers, we're talking about the quality of lives of human beings, right? And we know what happens with poor housing. So poor housing perpetuates a cycle of poverty. We also know that poor housing from COVID, that housing is health, right? And that
Yeah.
poor housing also, yes,
Mm.
exacerbates poor health. So let's also not forget that the construction industry is notorious for contributing to the global environmental issues that we have. So, without interventions like edge certified housing, then we're just compounding the climate crisis, as far as I'm concerned. So, for me, the edge certification has provided a kind of practical framework to achieve all the efficiencies that we could have in the built, or many of the efficiencies that we could have in the built environment. And for me, as a project manager, it means really embedding these sustainability goals into the projects that we manage. And in my mind, I'm hoping that at some point, construction project managers would actually have a toolkit that is embedded in the entire certification process, and that will become like a standard manner in
Yeah.
which, yeah. um, so where innovation in project management comes in is, first of all, just I have a mindset with every project that where are the issues around sustainability objectives. But we spoke earlier, and it was like often these come at some kind of conflict with budgets and the constraints that we have with budgets. And so managing that is really something that I think is important as a project manager. That balancing act demands creativity from me. And if I think about, so for example, in a housing project that we did a few years ago, what we had to do was we leveraged locally sourced earth,
Hmm.
which had a great insulation properties to build the outer walls of the building, and then we used cheaper material to build the internal walls. And so these are the things that have to be considered as a project manager, and then the savings we then deployed into building shared amenities for the community. There was recreational spaces, and then there was a huge landscape effort as well. So I find that the project manager can lead initiatives like this, especially where it's important to educate the client. Sometimes that's an important thing. So we have the privilege, right, really, of educating the client about sustainability and making sure that those are embedded in the projects that we work on. And related to that, for me, I would always talk about this, is the gender issue, right? So we're talking about diversity and inclusiveness.
Yeah.
I see housing as a platform for empowering, particularly for women in the emerging markets, and that's a market that I operate in. The women-headed households are absolutely vulnerable for many reasons. And often they're excluded from all the decisions about property ownership, decision making about housing development. So, as a project manager, I think we have a responsibility to create those solutions that uplift women intentionally. We have to do it intentionally. And again, I talk about toolkits that we're developing to make sure that we integrate gender responsive designs and policies into the projects that we're working on. So yeah, again, finally, I mean, when it comes to, again, related to gender issues, when it comes to engaging women, because when I worked in government, that was a very important component of the work that I was doing. How do I get women engaged in the enterprise of construction, right? They're in that space too. There are very few women.
Yeah.
So what we do is that we actively recruit and train women in construction trades. That's an important thing. So it's not just about creating homes that women have a stake in. It's also about livelihoods. There's a saying that if a woman is empowered, then her family is empowered and her community, by extension, is empowered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so inspiring to hear all these things, especially when you talk about gender equality and how you're promoting that. I
Yeah.
mean, like if you look at the family, any family, yes, father, of course, in today typical family, father is the one earning, but the woman is the one who's looking after the kids and
Hmm.
their growth and their studies and everything.
Hmm.
And they actually can be more better decision maker in many of the situations, or more inspiring, or they have different view to get the things done, more innovation, more sustainability, and all kind of things which you are doing at the
Hmm.
moment. But
Hmm.
their view is different. I
Yes.
mean, I can tell you based on I mean, without going too far in that, without praising the other part of the like I was about to release my app in August 2023, almost
Yeah.
ready. I'm feeling excited. Look, my wife was not involved, and I involved her. She said, "What are you doing? What is this all going on?"
Hmm.
Oh, I'm doing this app, wonderful app. Are you serious? These are this problem, this problem, this problem. So the problem I was not able to see, she immediately pointed out so many problems on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really? How can you see that? I mean, I'm into this. I'm doing this for a long time. I cannot see all this
Yeah.
problem. And
Yeah.
since then, we have identified more than which she was the inspiring more than 1,000 defects in the whole app.
Oh
More than
wow.
1,000. Wow! What? Even after release, the Android version, which was done in end of December,
Hmm.
and she has identified 21 more defects. How can you see that? So that
Yeah.
was so they're like, I'm seeing from one angle, and she's seeing from different angle.
Hmm. Hmm.
She's coming from, of course, IT and business analyst mindset, and she was able to do see it differently. So what
Yes.
I'm saying is, having involving the other part, especially the woman, can improve your successes, project
Yeah.
successes, program
Yeah.
successes, or my app,
Absolutely.
or my app success.
Yes, absolutely. Something, just to speak to this a little bit. Traditionally, data has been collected on any issue whatsoever. And, data supports policy decision making, right? And then subsequently implementation. But data has not often been disaggregated.
Mm.
So that is something that is starting to unfold now, and it is incredible what the perspective of the other gender does when it comes to the table. We just get a more robust, better quality solutions on every issue.
Actually, it's very important, and everybody, even the team member, not just man and woman, uh,
Yes.
it's not about competing with each other. It's about
No.
complementing each other.
Complement.
Yeah. So you have certain skills. Other person, your husband, your kids, or your other team member, they come with different perspective, different
Hmm.
view, and
Hmm.
they can see things differently. And instead of competing, hey, I'm better than you. No, I'm better in this. You're better in this, and you better in this. Let's complement, and
Yeah.
results can be exceptional.
Yeah. Yeah. I make it a point of duty. Well, first of all, I would never lead an all male project team, but I make it a point of duty that women occupy really certain key areas, because there's a nuance that the female gender brings to the table that not necessarily, and of course there are really great strengths that the men bring. So yeah, I agree with you that that complementary role we need to max at every level.
Exactly. So, look, my next question is around strategies. What strategies have you employed to foster high performing, inclusive team across diverse projects? And
Hmm.
how do these strategies drive collaboration, innovation, and project success?
I I think the first thing is to build a cohesive team. If you've ever worked in a team that was not together, you would know the importance of of making sure that that you have a team that is. And this is one of the things that's almost intuitive to me. I kind of know when we're there. I mean, team building is intentional. There's a lot of effort to put into it. Um, so I start from trying to understand what motivates my team members. And it's almost like herding cats because, everyone has a different has a different thing or set of things that motivate them. Uh, so a project manager really does need to have a huge cachet of people skills to be able to do that, right? And the reason why that's important is that one needs to establish a shared understanding. And that, in my view, is also the basis and then the need to build trust. So all of these issues around building cohesion is really to ensure that there is a common knowledge of what it is that we're doing and we're heading and the direction in which we're heading, and also to then build trust within the team. A team that has lost trust has lost a project, in my view.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's yeah. So my first part of the same way that I am really totally committed to identifying and engaging with stakeholders is the same way that I try within my team to create a shared vision. Why are we doing this? What is this about? What does it mean to us? Those things are absolutely important. So, another example, and I'll use housing again because that's I'm really passionate about that. If my team members have to see that, yeah, we have a housing project, it's a huge housing project, it's an exciting housing project, but it's not about houses. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about people. So what I then do to make sure that I build this shared vision is to pull the team together with the end users and hear what they have to say. What is their story? What does this mean to them? And when I've done that, I've seen the difference, because then it's not just about, oh, we're building a project of houses. It's about we're building, the hope and the aspirations of a group of people.
Mm.
So that's important to me. Uh, but leading teams is a little bit more than just having the right people skills. It's more than that.
Yeah.
So we're lucky that today we can leverage technology in a way that enhances the way that we're able to collaborate. So I enjoy working with certain project management platforms. I mean, where easy engagement and back and forth, real time collaboration, and all that. But I also again say these are tools; they're not the brains. We are the brains.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that human engagement and human interaction remains, really principal to the way that I run manage our teams. But so when physical site visits, for example, are not possible, I'm going back to the drone again. I'm sitting in my office and we're discussing across country, across the world, and we're looking at live images of what's going on. And
Mm.
I find that this is really I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. I joke that in my other life I am a private investigator, so so when there's a drone, on a project site, I'm like, yeah, this is spy. This is a mission, a spying mission that we're having. It's interesting what you can pick from a drone inspection.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. But and when we do all these recordings, the fact that I can view them over and over again is also something that I find interesting and challenging.
Yeah.
um, the other thing that I try to do as far as team building and is incentivizing my team. I initially, as a young project manager, I didn't see it as a priority. I mean, you get paid, right? And if there's a bonus, you get your share of bonus. But what I find is that a project cycle, um, people in a project team react to project cycles, right? So there's high moments, there's low moments, and and so the way that I do that is intermittently try and find things that we can do together, or even just things that's the reason why it's important to know what ticks the box for your project team member. And sometimes it's just a question of accumulating points for work well done, and then the points end up being a gift to a spa or something. Those are things that are just nice things to do. And when you just look at the look of yeah, of surprise, and yeah, it makes you as the head of the team feel really good.
Exactly.
So that's something that I've learned to do in managing my teams about diversity. Yeah? So
Yeah.
I've seen how diverse teams can generate better ideas. I mentioned to you earlier on that in my teams I make sure that there's a good mix of gender to start with. But I also know that, and diversity is many things, yeah. But I also know that diversity can come with its challenges. As a manager, managing a diverse team can be really, really tough. It's, sometimes it's language barriers, and but what is even and time zones. We've had to deal with that as well. But you can make those things work. I mean,
Yeah.
we made it work, didn't we? When I was taking my classes, we had
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In Nigeria, I'm
so
in San Francisco at the time. Yeah, it's
yes,
late
yeah,
night for me and early morning
uh-huh,
for you. And yeah, so
I know, yeah.
it is
So
workable.
so yes, so we make it work. But I think cultural differences, as an example, can be so much more subtle. It's not as obvious as a language difference. Cultural differences can be much more subtle and unclear.
Yeah.
But so as a project manager, I look to diversity because I see that the benefits of diversity are far more outweigh the lack of diversity in a team. And still on diversity, of course, gender inclusion is a big issue. I think for me, it's because as a young project manager, I found myself too many times the only woman in the room, way too many times.
Yeah.
I remember on the first project that I managed, it was a, quite a large project, and I was a young project manager going into the meeting room for the first time and sitting at the head of the table, and someone came in and says, "Oh, that's the PM's table sit." And I ignored him, and the next person comes in, no comments. I saw the glances and I ignored that, and then somebody else came and was brave enough to say that I needed to move over there. Oh yes. So so all of that kind of has shaped the way that I think about how I would like to see my teams and how I would like to see projects managed. Not because it's some emotional thing, but because I think it's the right thing to do, and because I know that the outcomes are usually better that way.
Yeah.
Um I'd like to give an example of a project that we managed for it was for a government agency, and what I did was I identified that there were quite a number of women, mom and pop contractors on the site. And they were often relegated to do the work that most people didn't want to do. And so I worked with an agency who provided artisanship training, and they took them through a course. Just this group of women, there were 12 of them, and I'm still in touch with a number of them today. But the confidence that it gave them to go out there and bid for work was incredible. Just because they had been taught the basic things, not just about construction, but about managing their little businesses. And so I find that at the end of the day, the entire society benefits from paying attention to things like this. If there's anything that 30 years in the space has taught me, is that actually people are at the heart of every project that I do. People are at the heart of it. And that I should never walk away from a project thinking that project success is because the project has been successfully delivered.
Yeah.
Uh, but that, project success is because a certain group, if not all, have been empowered to do more.
Yeah.
And that's really important to me.
Great, great. Thank you, Jumagi. Just for the audience, I have just posted the PDU code in case you are looking for PDU, especially people already have a certificate. You need to maintain your PDUs, keep earning PDUs so that you can renew your certificate. So that will give one PDU, and if you keep joining these sessions, you will keep
Uh-huh.
earning PDUs. So it doesn't mean that we are finished. We still have few. I still have a few more questions to go. Uh,
Yes.
I know we almost time, but I will request Jumaki to stay and request all of you to continue to learn from. I have, I
Mhm.
think, one question and two audience question, which I will take.
Okay.
So, with no further delay, let me ask my next question. Looking to the future, what do you see as the biggest shift or disruption coming to project management? And how should the industry prepare to meet these challenges head on?
I think I have to look into a crystal ball for that for a moment.
I have that. Don't worry.
I think it's both. There's excitement, but in many ways, I think it's also daunting. Uh, well, first of all, yeah, we've been around for a little while, so we know that change is constant, right? So, but I suspect that we're going to experience some rather profound shifts. And when I say we, I'm speaking about we who are in my sector, in the construction sector. I'm excited about the opportunities that it will bring. And when I think about what those shifts could be, I'll probably speak to about three or four of them, as I think they are. Um, First of all, technology is going to continue to play such a huge role.
Yeah,
The other day, I went to look at a property, and I had one of my young team members with me, and she had an app on her phone. And with that app, she pulled me out in about 15 minutes a floor plan, fully
wow,
dimensioned, walls built up, sizes of windows and doors and everything. And I thought, in the world where I came from, you needed to have a measuring tape
yeah,
and a pencil.
yeah,
That would have been a good 3 hours work.
yeah. Please,
So yeah, but that's even basic compared to the other things that I know are happening. So what we see today, I think, are just like warm up acts. I think the next 10 years would be extremely exciting as far as technology is concerned. I'm seeing what artificial intelligence will do.
Mhm.
Already, blockchain is being deployed to manage contracts.
Yeah,
That's already happening. I have read, I have not deployed digital twins, but I understand what it is. I laugh when I think about it because as a young architect, we built 3D models with cardboard, and it was a tedious process.
yeah,
And then we moved to building these models using, certain software, and now we're talking digital twins. And I'm thinking, wow, I mean, this is this is really incredible stuff. Um, I'm seeing, and all of this, will impact heavily the way that we plan our projects, the way we execute them, and the way we monitor them as well. I imagine that AI will be predicting delays on your behalf easily. And in addition to that, perhaps even recommending some mitigation strategies. Uh, I see that happening.
yeah,
I'm reading exciting things around the acronym SMART. There's a smart approach to construction now.
yeah,
But yeah, I always, again, and I will say it, and this is probably my fourth time saying it, all these lovely tools. Technology is an assistant. Technology is not the manager,
yeah, yeah,
not the
yeah.
leader. Yeah. Second thing that I think is would be impactful is sustainability. I mean, we've touched on it a little bit. Sustainability is not a nice to have anymore. It's actually become beyond a moral imperative,
Yeah.
and for us as project managers, has to be the very foundation of how we think about projects and about managing projects. It's a wonderful thing, but uh, and in construction particularly, we have the burden of ensuring that our construction practices are more carbon neutral than they have been. There's also practices around the circular economy, and I'm interested currently in several projects that are happening in Nigeria that are in that space. And obviously the pressure to deliver environmentally responsible projects will just continue to grow, and that pressure is going to come from government policies on the one hand, is going to come from investors and providers of funding on the other hand, and clearly clients are also going to start to insist on more of those. So, it gives project managers like myself and, and those in that space this extraordinary opportunity to lead, because we're not just now overseeing projects, we're shaping communities and we're shaping the planet
Great,
for the planet's future. So my perspective, our responsibilities just got bigger.
great, great.
And another thing I think is the rise of leadership in a different way. And I say this is inclusive leadership. Um, there's diversity is something that we have all taken on board, and I think that the stories around leadership are also shifting. I see it in Agile, and the way that the leadership has been democratized,
Yep.
and so I bring that also into my projects. And it's not just about leadership from the management perspective, it's also about the way we learn skills and assign roles. So I remember our conversations around T skills,
Oh, yeah.
and just the need, yes, just the need to broaden knowledge across the teams. That for me is important. So overall, we have to be more flexible as project managers, more adaptable. We have to be more resilient. Disruptions will come; they are coming. They usually come unannounced as well.
Yep.
So I think agility is not a project management methodology. It's a mindset. It is
Mine.
a mindset. It has to be the mindset of the project manager of the future. Yeah.
Great, great. Thank you, thank you. I do have a couple of two questions from audience
Yes.
pre-registered. This is a long question. I think kind of you have already answered, but let me read it out anyway. Uh, from Blazy, Victor from Blazy. Okay. I am experienced 20 years, project manager, retired, managed very big program projects, $25 million work. I never did any certification as used to use the Microsoft platform to manage my
Mhm.
projects. And I have master degree in management, electrical engineer degree, okay, all kind of things. Will PMP provide value to an experienced project manager like me who has managed large scale projects but had not pursued any formal certification yet?
That sounds like me before 2022.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
2022, I was 26 years project management and so on and so forth. Um, I don't know if Victor heard what I said. What project, if you think about it beyond the certification to start with, what project management gives you, the PMP certification gives you, is the platform.
yeah,
And I'm sure that now that you're retired, Victor, you're thinking more about things giving back. That's such an important thing. I mean, for many of us, it happens at a later stage in life. And if that's where your mind is today, then you need to take advantage of the platform. It's a global platform, and it opens up the opportunity for you to influence a lot more. So that would be my response. In terms of the methodologies, I also responded to that. I said what it gave me was a clearer set of lenses. It's the same way you're wearing your glasses and you're kind of used to it. When you go for an eye test, they tell you there's a slight problem here, and until they put a new lens in, you don't realize that, oh, okay, I could do with a new set of lenses. That's
yeah,
what happened with me. Um, just the structure around all the several frameworks that you learn through the process is extremely useful to kind of structure your thinking, even if you've been thinking it for 20 years and doing it.
great, great. And of course, it changed the perspective. It changed, as we talked about, it gives you different actually standard way of doing things you have been
Yeah.
doing. You get a comparison. Okay, can I do a
Hmm.
little bit better? And very simple thing, stakeholder engagement and how you do the governance, how you realize those benefits.
Yeah.
Yes, you have been doing project management. You are expert in that area, but you will only benefit out of doing any certificate.
Absolutely.
Certificates are not for having another three-letter acronym behind your name. It is to give you a different view, different perspective, different,
Yeah.
and you see the word and get the things done better, actually.
Yeah.
Great, great, great. My last question,
Okay.
Christine and from LA. What actionable strategies can project manager adopt to build high-performing, inclusive team?
Uh, Somehow, Kristen, I think I've kind of answered that question
Yeah,
as well. The first thing for me, as I said, is to build team cohesion.
yeah,
I and that requires a lot of work. There's is a dedicated intentional work on your part. It doesn't help actually that project teams change over time. So you is very rare to have a project team, the same team at the beginning of the project as and at the end. So this often has to be an ongoing deliberate exercise to make sure that the team is talking the same language. That's the way that I put it. But it also puts a responsibility on you as a project manager that if for any reason there's a member of the team who is just not unable to, then you need to find what it takes to get that team member out of the team, because I have also seen teams destroyed
yeah.
because of one individual who could have been exited a lot earlier. So it is a huge responsibility, but it starts from building team cohesion. I mentioned to you, Durham, that intuitively I know when my team is working together as a well-oiled machine. I know when we get there.
Yep, yep. Well,
But before then, I'm tweaking and I'm working with the individual team members to arrive there.
great. Look, it was really exciting to hear all the learning from you about, I mean, a lot of talk about construction.
Hmm.
Which sometimes, okay, am I doing enough about construction? No, I mean, but the way you have explained, even the
Yeah.
simple technology, beam and edge and other things make huge sense to me. And it's not about the tool we are using or the industry we are working in. What can
Hmm.
we learn from other person? What whether can I apply some of the things which Jumaki is using in industry, like construction industry, in my oil and gas, or can I do something similar in my IT world? May
Hmm.
not be exactly, but can I take the perspective like team building activities, how to manage a team? It is nothing to do with any construction or any industry. You can do the same thing in any industry or apply those technology or that you other thing mentioned the stakeholder engagement.
Hmm.
Very important for any kind of project or program. You have to apply those learning.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Jumeki. It was really, really honored to have you here. And by activity, I'm watching people. They are all attentively listening the way you expressing, and I'm sure they got a lot out of this. And I like to see if any questions, clarification, and people just say thank you on the question pad somewhere, which is great.
Yeah.
Um, and also, I'm excited to have another webinar coming up with Sherwin from Trinidad and Tobago, which is in a Caribbean country, and he's excellent person. He did PgMP with me. He's also looking for PfMP. So please join that as well. And if you need my time, or you want to talk to me, how I can be like Jumaki. I mean, you cannot be like Jumaki. You can be you with a additional certificate, PMP, PgMP, PfMP, or any other certificate you're looking from PMI side. I will be
Hmm.
more than happy to guide you, whether you take my mentorship or not. I love to see that you become my mentor, a mentee, and take you
Hmm.
all the way to achieve the certificate. But any questions you have around, I will be happy to talk about. And I put a link there. It's very simple: www.talktodharam.com. So you just talk to me as a normal person. Um,
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
great.
you, thank you so much, Durham, for just for the opportunity to share a little bit of what I do and my story. And I thank you to everyone who's listening. You've spent a good hour and a little bit
More
with
than that,
us.
yeah.
Yes, yeah, and
Mm.
yeah, this has been really good. I think we all just need to continue to do the work that needs to be done, and to collaborate. I'm
Yeah.
really heavy on collaborating. So
And
thank you so
do
much.
your work with passion.
Oh
When
yes,
you find a passion in the work, even though I know some work can be pressure, demand, and all those things, if you can
yeah,
see things differently and you find passion in that, your
yeah,
work will be different.
yeah.
Okay.
You know the thing about passion as well is that when you find that you're mentoring people and pulling people up, that gives you passion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really does. It really, really does. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, and thank you all of you guys. It is a privilege to have you and help bring some knowledge to you one way or other. I do have more than 300 videos webinar recorded that like people like Jomuki and many other people. So I did put links on YouTube links. So I have to put two links in my chat where I have a like webinars and the podcast with the people like Thomas Valente and Justin and many other people where they have been expressing the knowledge for a long, long time. So keep learning. So look, this is, people say you have to pay for everything. Knowledge is free. You go to YouTube, you can watch any of the video, learn from them,
Mm,
and apply them to your day-to-day programs and projects and program portfolio.
hmm.
With this, I think it's time for us to say bye, and I will see you soon. And thank you, Jumiki, for your contribution. I'm very happy
Okay.
to have this conversation was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and goodbye, everyone.